Bhargav.
So the requirement that we have for backend, basically we should.
Your audio is not proper. There's a lot of noise.
Let me change my microphone.
Yeah,
Is my voice audible now? Is it better?
very low. Noise is not there, but voice is very low.
I've increased the microphone sensitivity. How is it
Yeah.
now?
No, no, okay, fine.
So the requirement we have is to run some sort of server uh, on a computer which can service to user requests. Say if
Yes,
someone hits AIHUB.com, then it should be capable to run some programs or logic on the machine and then send the output back to the user. And that is a typical client server architecture if anyone's wondered about the naming convention. And in order to establish this at a production level, we need three things. One, we need a physical server in which the code will run. Whatever the code it might be Python, it might be JavaScript or anything that runs in the server side. And the second thing would be a domain name. So a domain name, if anyone of you don't know, is basically the name of the website that we type in order to be able to access it. And why do we need this domain name? Why can't we just set our own name? So the reason behind that is the internet uses specific names that are reserved for specific websites. So if we want to use some name, we have to register that name in the internet so that anyone who accesses the World Wide Web, when he when they type in AIHUB.com, it will get redirected to our specific server. So the domain name will be charged, if I'm not wrong, and I don't know anything specific to the price of the domain names. And but moving on for now, the third thing we need is an SSL certificate. And what do we mean by this SSL, and what is this certificate, and why do we need a certificate to run our own server? So SSL is basically one of the networking layers in a computer. So let's say if you try to visit facebook.com, in order to make sure the website is secure and follows a set of security standards, there are multiple providers that provide these SSL certificates. Now, what does this mean? There is an SSL certificate, and why should we trust the providers? So, these providers are security professionals that test your website across various factors and then verify that yes, this is a authorized and verified website, so you can access it securely. That is the purpose of an SSL certificate. And the systems or authorities who provide this are known as CAs, the certificate providers, or certificate authorities. And that certificate is free. We don't have to purchase any certificate to get the HTTPS. And that certificate can be renewed once every 90 days. Since we are getting a free certificate, and it is a potential that we make changes in our web server, right? We might add new features, or we might add uh, some specific modules into our web server, change some code, or do something that may break previous changes. So in order to make sure the SSL certificate is updated according to the website, we have to renew it once every 90 days at the minimum. And renewal is free of charge, we don't have to worry about it, but someone has to manually renew the certificate so the website can be accessed securely. That is the third and final thing. And out of the three things, we need to put some budget on two of them. First, the physical server that we wish to use, and these physical servers have highly varying cost. And as for our requirements, getting started with working on physical servers and understanding the internal workings and seeing how networks are configured as junior developers, we don't need a professional or flagship server. We need something that works for now and let's say works for the next 2 years. And there are these devices called EOL devices, which stand for end of life devices. What these mean basically is every company or organization that purchases these devices, that might be a computer, a router, a server, or a switch, or a mouse, keyboard, anything that is part of an electronic. So we have these policies that are in place for the companies, which say any device that is purchased, doesn't matter how costly it is, has to be replaced after a certain amount of time. And it also doesn't matter if the device is used or not. So say if someone Microsoft purchased the server in 2019 and the end of life time is 5 years, then they have to replace that in 2024. Even if it's brand new and hasn't been used, they have to replace that. Does that make sense? Do we have any questions so far?
No, no questions. You can go ahead.
So these end of life devices are purchased by third party uh, service centers or computer stores, and in order to get rid of them, the companies sell them at a lower price than the original amount. So say if a brand new server it costs around 10,000, the end of life device can be purchased at a price of 2,000, which is 20% of the original price. I know the percentage is not correct, it is approximate, but we can purchase this at a substantially lower amount, and that will work for us if we can check the device before purchasing. Say there are chances we get a brand new server that wasn't used and has reached end of life and will be perfectly suitable for our use case. And the second thing we need to put some budget on is the domain name. Depending upon the type of domain name we need to have, there are different pricings. So domains such as .io, .com, and .rs, etc., have different pricings. So we need to choose one that is lowest for now. Since we don't have to be worried about the domain name, it has to be simple and it has to contain the term AIHUB-VVIT. That's all we are looking for now. And once we purchase the hardware and the domain, we can come up with a prototype and host it on the web so that anyone in our college can access it from the internet. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And in order to test before buying anything, we can do a trial run of what's known as deployment testing. So deployment testing is basically provisioning resources on a larger machine and checking if the resources are sufficient for any server that will be run. Say I have a 8 core machine right now, I'm working on a Mac, and I have an 8-core GPU and 8 GB of RAM, but we might not need all of that for our web server. Now there are certain deployment tools such as Docker and Kubernetes which allow you to configure virtual resources. By virtual, I mean you can allocate or give some amount of resources from your computer. So let's say if I have 8 GB of RAM, I can only allocate 1 GB of RAM for that, and it won't use anything beyond 1 GB. And if I have 40 GB of storage on my device, I can only allocate 10 GB for that server. And we can test this server virtually, and everyone can access that, and they can ping the website, check if all the web pages are being rendered correctly, and test if all the behavior is working as expected under this resources that we gave it. And this prototype doesn't even require any server to be purchased, since we can just host it on one of your laptops or my own laptop, and everyone can check the website. And everyone, let's say if there are 100 members that will be developing this website, and there will be roughly 500 members that will be accessing this website daily, we can do tests that will actually create users and then access the website uh, at a rate of 500 users per second. So we can actually know what the actual requirements for our hardware is. Do we need 1 GB of RAM? Do we need 2 GB or do we need 3 GB? What is that we exactly need? So we can test it out before purchasing anything, and then we can deploy it partially, make sure everyone likes the prototype and understands how it works, and then we can purchase the hardware based on the requirements we get from the testing. Does that make sense?
Where do you test actually? This is going to be cloud like Docker, Kubernetes you mentioned.
Yeah, this
With
is going to be in the cloud,
okay.
or we can expose a web server from our computer to the internet.
So
So my machine will act as a server.
let me answer my understanding. Like after testing, we will be having better idea about what are the software, the tech stack we need, and then what are the hardware requirements, like how much space we need. So with that understanding, we can go for purchasing, right?
Yeah, and we don't have to worry about software requirements because any software can be deployed. What we are worrying about is only the hardware requirements.
Okay, okay,
It doesn't matter if the students wants to explore Django in Python, or if they want to explore some other new API, or if they want to try different technologies. So they can try anything they want, but we have to consider the number of websites they'll be deploying, the number of applications that will be running in the server, and based on that we can test and then uh, finalize the hardware requirements.
okay. Now, what is the major part of that hardware? Memory? Only how much space we are going to get? Oh, see,
uh,
basically, the when I talk to people like Dilip sir, Anil sir, they are always talking about it doesn't support workload like that.
mhm.
Like if they are giving some internet connectivity of 1 GB, it may not support your workload if you are going to make it popular. That is why they are hesitating. You may
Got it.
need 10 GB line like that. What about speed? That hardware speed, these are interlinked.
Mhm,
Processor,
mhm,
RAM,
mhm,
network speed.
mhm.
How do we get idea about the compatibility of these hardware requirements?
With respect to CPU and RAM, we can do what I've described previously, which is load testing. We can test the number of users. We predict that these will be the maximum number of users that will be using our website, and we can test that on a local machine that we already have. Based on that, we'll get the specific CPU and RAM requirements and the storage requirements. And as per network connectivity, every typical machine that we host on it will have a bandwidth of 1 Gbps at Wi-Fi 5. So we have these Wi-Fi standards, right? 802.11,
Yes.
and 802.11 stably supports 1 Gbps right now. It won't be a problem, and I would say more than 10,000 users can access our website simultaneously.
Okay, that's great. That is way beyond our expectation. Okay.
And even though if a network connectivity problem arises, we can purchase one more server when we run out of space, and then use what is known as switch. So what it will do is basically, let's say if there are 5,000 users that were initially accessing the website, and due to some event or some uh, sudden surprised event, 5,000 more users join in, but our server can only accommodate the first 5,000. What this switch will do is, hey, the server 1 is full, so I want you to use server 2. So we can keep on adding servers as our requirement changes.
Okay.
So we don't have to purchase all of them at the same time, and we can keep on adding whenever the user requirement changes, or if we need more compute capacity.
Okay. So, how to start this entire process? Like, we need it ready by this month ending.
Mm-hmm.
Budget, budget, if it is correct, whatever you said is correct, like end of life
Mm-hmm.
device, all these things, that is, that budget we can manage, no issue.
Mm-hmm.
So, having said that, how to initiate? Like Harsha and Harendra, these people will be attached to you. They will do whatever is necessary, like searching for those EOL devices availability,
Mm-hmm.
and we will discuss. And but daily we need to progress.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that that planning has to be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Yeah,
what?
as you will be busy in the working days, like in the weekdays, you give them the works, the plan of action for the rest of the 4 days, 5 days. They will
Mm-hmm.
do that. We will do that, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
And end of the week, we will sit together and draw some conclusions. We
Sure.
can plan like that, but it has to be it has to happen in next couple of weeks. That's it.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking, since today is a weekend and I have some time today, if there are 4 to 5 people available today, we can configure the backend with the current web pages we have, and we should be able to deploy that prototype by today itself.
Like in cloud, which cloud?
Not in cloud, on my machine, which will be exposed to the internet. If you need that to be in the cloud, then we can deploy it in the cloud as well.
Okay, you will give access to your system to these 4 5 people.
Not for 5 people, but the entire internet, so anyone can access and test it.
Okay.
Anna,
So
already the deployment is completed backend by using Django.
yeah, Harendra has done something. That
Mm-hmm.
code, that entire coding is available. That package is available. They will share with you, and it's not latest version of our website, but maybe 1 week before version.
Got it.
Django framework. He has used Django framework, and he did beautifully. Like organizing the code, he did it very attractively, like into folders, different folders. He did everything. Yeah. Having said that, that is ready. At least a rough version is ready.
Okay. And where was it deployed, Harindra?
No, not deployed. It is on local server only.
Okay. So if we have it in place, then if we have the code in a remote repository, I can pull it and then I can host a web server and maybe in say in 2 or 3 hours we should be able to access that.
Can you make these people to do that? Because if you are doing it always on your own, then
Got it.
yeah, it may take little more time. Maybe instead of 2 hours, 1 more hour extra time you have to put to teach them,
Mhm.
but they will have that experience.
Got it. And one more question: is computer networks finished as part of your curriculum?
No, these are second year people. They don't have any idea.
Got it.
No physical layer idea. No nothing. They are always on API. Maybe little bit of API layer. Top layer. Do you have
Give me
CN?
1 or 2. Yeah. Yes. CN.
No, I'm asking these. Saranya, do you have CN in this semester? Computer
No, sir.
networks. Yeah, yeah. It comes in third year only. Yeah. Bhargav, please.
Yeah. Give me 1 or 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I'll think about something and then I'll let you know how we should proceed on this.
Okay. Actually, it is holiday for them tomorrow also.
Mm-hmm.
So they can sit late night with you if possible.
Mm-hmm.
So you can take your own time, but a little progress today has to happen.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they could. What I'm thinking right now is they could do it by themselves, but they wouldn't understand the theoretical concepts that work internally. I mean, there are a lot of things that go in place, such as TCP/IP, WebSockets, and then uh, tunneling, encryption, and everything. And I think it would take 1 or 2 weeks to understand everything properly. Or if it's
Yeah.
okay to only get the practical experience, such as command line interfaces for now, then we can also do that.
Yes. I am okay with that, and I recommend also do it everything in reverse. What is that called? Reverse engineering?
Uh, we wouldn't call it reverse engineering, we would call it tinkering.
Okay.
So we'd poke it first and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
let
If it is okay with you, then the team is ready.
yeah, let
On
me
behalf
know.
of them, I am mentioning because I will force them to do that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
let me know who will be joining me. So I'll talk to them and see what their strengths are, and then delegate concepts accordingly so that they can learn and then they can share with each other, and finally we can produce some output by the evening.
Okay. No issue. That I will share, not in this meeting, but after this meeting.
Yeah, sure.
Hmm. What they need to know? Nothing, right? Just command line interface, whatever commands are there, they have to type in at least.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
I
okay.
mean, most of the things are abstract way. To
Okay.
make it operate, they just need some familiarity with the syntax and the shell.
Okay. So you're talking about basically shell scripting
Yes.
on Linux machine.
Yes.
Okay, that is very helpful for them. They are getting introduced now itself. I'm happy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they will definitely work with you, like they will learn from you.
Mhm.
Yeah. What next we have to discuss?
Hmm. I mean, when we consider Django specifically, one thing that came to my mind is it comes with a lot of pre-packed features that we'll not be using for a while.
Okay.
That will increase the compute capacity required.
Okay.
And I mean, specifically, Django comes with features such as database migration facilities, and then database logging facilities, monitoring facilities, and then it comes with this architecture known as MVT, Model View Template, which is a bit deviating from the traditional architecture, and it requires some additional compute capacity.
Okay, what is the alternative then? Flask?
A Flask would be good, or there is this new API called Fast API, which is being used for machine learning and deep learning.
Yes, Jeremy Howard or somebody.
Yep.
The key person. Okay.
And last year, I think at the end of 2024, it was benchmarked to be the third fastest web server in Python. Not in
Okay.
Python, in across all languages.
Okay.
So if they could learn that, they could use it in other projects and also showcase it in their resume. So I was thinking adopting to that specific server if possible, if it is okay with everyone.
So Fast API is like a full stack deep learning, machine learning kind of thing.
Nope, it is just a web framework which is being used for deep learning because it is fast.
Okay. 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 I
Because
got
when
it.
we generate these deep learning models, they need to be as fast as possible and respond to as many users. So that's why it is being used.
So that means the summary of this part of discussion is that if you want to learn web frameworks, there are options like Django is one option, Flask is another option, Fast AI is another option. Maybe Streamlit can be considered as a web framework. Streamlit
No, Streamlit is a UI interface. It
UI
is like
interface. Okay.
developing HTML using Python.
Okay. 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 Then they will start with this Fast AI and then Flask. They Django. I asked them to resort to their personal learning task. So if they want to do on this server, they want to do part of this AI Hub server, then they will be restricting themselves to only these two, either Fast AI or Flask.
Yeah.
Okay.
And let me know the start and end time of the session today, say from 1 to 5 p.m. or something, so I can plan things accordingly and put deadlines on how much time to spend on everything.
I think I cannot say that on my own. I will ask the team and they will come up with some idea. They will approach.
Yeah, please take your time
I,
and then let me
yeah,
know when they're ready.
I won't be in the middle. They will directly contact you. Like Harsha already, Vamsi, Harsha. They will talk to you.
Yeah, sure.
If the screen is shared, if you are going to share the screen, maybe somebody else also join. They will also look into what is going on. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. I can
Yeah.
share the screen.
Okay. Okay. One more thing, I already explained to these members before you join the meeting. Hackathon questions are to be, those challenges are to be perfectly scrutinized, thoroughly scrutinized before conducting the next hackathon. And that we will do. Okay, but ultimately, finally, you have to look into them before we post it to the next challenge, next contest. That much time you have to allocate for these fellows. We will have some checkpoints like under 3 protocols. We will be doing that. First protocol is the team members will be preparing the questions, and then the questions will be shortlisted by some alumni working in companies, and the final list will be provided to you. And we will check whether the test cases are correct or not, and code can be developed for those challenges or not, and then we'll go for the contest. That is the basic idea. Under 3 stages, we will make ready the challenge questions. That is the idea.
And there are a few more things I would like to add to that, which is in a typical scenario, if you consider platforms like HackerRank, HackerUp, LeetCode, or anything, uh, please think that you have done an excellent job given such a short time. And one of the roles that was offered to me was drafting these questions, and essentially how you know how uh, demanding it is to write these questions. If you prepare a question set for a rating of 2000 in code forces, you would be essentially paid 70 to 80,000 for that question set.
Question set consisting of how many questions?
6 to
2000
7 questions.
Oh my God.
And I've also talked to a few people in hacker rank, and they will take 1 month to prepare one question every time, and they will be getting paid 3 lakhs per month. So that is 3 lakhs for one question.
Okay.
That is the level at which you are doing. If you keep this up and try to prepare professional questions that will challenge universities and global students, that is the uh, level of demand you would have.
So it is the career opportunity,
Yep.
even as a student also,
Mhm.
if you are having that much competing ability.
Mhm. And
Okay.
given our current progress, by say next two hackathons, so if we conduct two more hackathons, the third one should be an open challenge to everyone. If that's okay. So the open challenge would go across our college and also our alumni to prepare the most toughest problems, and the team that has prepared the problems knows end-to-end solutions, and they are the ones that should be designing the level of problems. They should be capable to design these difficult problems.
Now, can you explain with more clarity?
As
Open challenge is, you mentioned yesterday, open challenge means one university competing with the another university.
Mhm.
That is one thing I understood,
Mhm.
but please explain again.
Yeah. So open challenges are basically saying, hey, here is the toughest problem set our team has prepared. Can you solve it? We challenge you to solve it. It is sort of creating the most complex problems that a team can. And in order to be able to do that, the team first has to be capable enough to solve those problems in the first place.
Okay.
So let's say if you prepare a problem set that even the uh, most prestigious university's academic topper cannot solve, that means you're even better than the academic topper himself, because you prepared problems that the even someone with such high academic performance cannot solve it. So that means your problem solving capacity is even greater than them.
Okay. And one thing is really bothering me,
Yes.
like how good or how bad using ChatGPT in this process.
Uh, so the let's say if I put this at a rational level, these coding competitions that happen globally, such as Meta's Hacker Cup or Google's Code Jam, or other international or national or even state level competitions, regional competitions, they happen. They have a typical problem rating of 1600 to 2000, and
Okay.
the problems that we have prepared, to be brutally honest, they would have a rating of 0 to 50.
Okay.
So there are a lot of concepts that the team has to learn, a lot of strategies in problem solving, And these strategies not only include data structures, but they also include specific thought processes that will help solve this process given a limited time.
Okay.
And when we can adapt all these strategies and learn thoroughly and become familiar with the competitive programming environment, we can prepare questions and question sets and host open challenges. And by definition, any challenge that will have more number of unsolved problems without any issues, by issues I mean unclarifying descriptions or invalid test cases. So if everything's perfect and still the problem isn't unsolved, that will earn reputation for that specific team who has wrote the problems.
Okay.
They will also be offered invitations to national and international events to draft the questions there also.
Okay.
And it sort of raises the competitive level from our college, saying we are even more competitive than other universities.
Yeah, that will bring recognition to the university also.
Yeah.
And somehow I am getting feeling that Kaggle is nothing compared to this kind of competing environment. That is going in a very narrow way.
Yeah, Kaggle focuses on
Only
software methodologies and how to leverage the technologies that exist around you and make use of them. But this is pure raw
core.
thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, very
If you
core
can
computer
solve,
engineering.
so let me give you a motivational rating that will help you get started and even burn more time on problem solving. So I said these ratings, right? That would
Yes.
be around 1600 to 2000.
Yes.
And I also said we are preparing problems at a rating of 0 to 50.
Yes.
And if you consider Google, which is one of the top MNCs, and every question that Google asks at an interview will be at a rating of 1600 to 1700, and you will be asked to solve two questions in 1 hour. But
Okay.
in competitive programming, if you keep on progressing and if you keep pushing yourself, the highest rated problem is around 3900. Google isn't even close to what the problem solvers have in terms of thinking capacity.
Okay. For the sake of understanding of the attendees here, competitive programming is another thing. CP, that is called CP.
Mm-hmm.
And there are websites conducting this competitive programming contests
Mm-hmm.
across the globe.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find material also in the websites, textbooks,
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that kind of preparation is required.
definitely. And I would even love to challenge some of the students here to some problem solving or writing drafts. And there are also specific platforms in which you can challenge your friends. So there is this server in Discord, an application that I'll add to the Discord later on. What that
Yeah.
does is, if two different people try to challenge them, hey, so there will be a command that says / challenge specific username. So it will challenge that user, and if both of them agree upon a specific rating, it will pick a question that both of them haven't solved yet, and whoever solves the first one will get some score. And
So,
there will be a monthly leaderboard within our Discord server for only the AI Hub members.
okay, the question will be given automatically by the machine server.
Yeah, it will pick from some platform and it will give the link.
Okay.
So you can go to that platform, solve it as soon as you can, and the first one to solve wins the flag.
Hmm.
You can keep challenging your friends again and again and again until you improve, and you can compete for the leaderboard and improve your problem solving and speed solving skills.
Yeah, this is another way, interesting way of improving their skills.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we will start doing that also. But after some time, let us fix this server thing.
Mm-hmm.
At least the attendees of today's meeting, they understood how serious we are and how much effort we are putting.
Mm-hmm.
So they get some seriousness on their own careers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, and before I leave, a few more things regarding the methodology we are going to use to host these hackathons. There are two key pointers you need to remember. A problem cannot be tested by the person who wrote it, because he will only think in the way he is expecting, and there will be many loopholes that someone who's trying to break it will look at.
Okay.
So that is rule number one. The testing can never be done by the person who described the problem, at least until they get experienced on testing a few concepts and a few problems.
Okay.
And rule number two is you need to be documenting every possible way to solve the problem before the problem is even published.
Yeah. I'm thinking about we should run one session on this documentation thing because I myself don't have any confidence on how to do that
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to any problem solving.
Mm-hmm.
So, can you plan one session, maybe 1 hour, half an hour, a quick session
Yeah,
next
sure.
week or any time possible to you?
Yeah, got it. Yeah,
Hmm.
I'll definitely plan a session, and I'll share the schedule a few days before the
Yeah,
session goes live.
yeah.
And those are the two rules. Just to summarize, rule number one is problem cannot be tested by whoever described it in the first place. And the second rule is documenting every possible answer before the problem is published. And in a scenario where if the user comes up with a creative solution which you haven't documented before, that means you haven't tested the problem enough.
Okay.
And that's how these problems take a long time. And the HackerRank example that I gave, taking 1 month to prepare one problem, that's how they do it. If there are 100 different ways a problem could be solved, they'll be documenting every single possible way and then writing test cases for every single possible way.
Okay. Yeah, different ways means is it regarding time complexity, space complexity, logic? In what aspects different ways means?
So we have three different ways. One is the space complexity, and then time
Optimizing.
complexity, of course, and then the concept that that is required to solve the problem. Right now, at this level, we are only using data structures and relying on them and specific methods to be able to solve the problem. But as we progress, there will be specific concepts that need to be learned before you can even understand what the problem means.
Okay, okay.
And those concepts will have loopholes, and if
O-
you are not thorough with the concept and you're not aware of the loopholes, then users will be using some kind of breakthroughs such as simple print statements to solve the problems, which shouldn't be allowed.
Okay.
Not exactly, but that's how it will be. They'll use some shortcut logics to skip through test cases and then submit the solution successfully.
Okay, so we'll have thorough discussion on this documentation of questions,
Mm-hmm.
challenges in whatever session you plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add now in this session?
I would say if any of you are interested in this problem solving and improving your raw thinking throughput capacity, meaning the level at which you're able to think, you should be focusing on problem solving first before you even move on to things such as web development or back end development or even machine learning or deep learning. Because there is a simple example that I faced in competitive programming. When I started competitive programming, I used to attend these contests and I couldn't even solve one problem for the duration of 90 minutes. And eventually, I used to solve one or two problems. And at the third problem, I just got hit by a hammer on my head, which is how, let's say, I'll ask you a question, everyone. You don't have to answer it, but just answer it in your mind. So, how many steps or variables do you remember when you try to program, either in HTML, Python, C, or any sort of programming? I would say an average programmer will remember 4 to 5. And if any one of you would like to answer your opinion, then please do. I'll give you one or 2 minutes.
Anybody wants the repetition of question? Can you repeat one more time?
So when you program, you have to remember some amount of steps to think about it and then write the next step, right? So
Yeah.
how many steps would you typically remember in your mind when you try to write the next line of code? How many steps would you remember in your mind? Would you remember the past 2 or 3 for loops, or 2 or 3 variables, or 2 or 3 steps or functions? Like, how much can you remember right now? That is the question. And think about it. And me, when I started programming, I used to remember 2 or 3 variables or 2 or 3 steps at an instant. And I would think about 2 or 3 steps and I would write the fourth step. And then I would think about the previous 3 steps and then write the fifth step. And then the previous 3 and the next one, previous 3 and the next one. That is how I used to think. And when I came to a problem solving rating of 1000, the questions themselves require you to remember more than 6 steps at a time. And if you are not able to remember 6 steps at a time, you won't be able to solve the problem. So it is challenging you in terms of your thinking process, thinking capacity, thinking speed, and also your memory capacity. These are all the fundamental things you need to be a good problem solver or to be a good software engineer. And if you improve this in the first place, in your first year, then it would tremendously help you a lot in your interviews or while building a project. Does that make sense? Is it clear?
Yes, clear. And I remember that you have insisted this from the very first meeting also. When we met personally in online meetings also, I remember that problem solving skills are most prominent than this tech stack, understanding tech stack, etc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is one thing you need to remember. Definitely, whenever you go into any company, they are going to look at how you think rather than how much you know. It's not about if you have solved 10,000 problems. It's about how many new problems can you solve. Problems you haven't seen before, you never heard about, and you didn't imagine them. those are the capabilities that any typical company would look for, especially a startup. And I yes,
Yeah,
please go ahead.
yeah. I can give proof for this, whatever you have said, like how your thinking plays crucial role in recruitment process. Like there is, I think before Corona, I think maybe in 2019 passed out or 20 passed out, only 2 students got placed in Amazon from our college. One is a boy from CSE, another is girl from ECE. They gave 2 problems. Maybe I think 8 students attended that interview. Only 2 got placed. And from the rest of the college, none of them were placed. None of them got offer letter. These 2 got, and I talked to this girl from ECE. The 2 problems, she couldn't find the solution for the 2 problems she was given. Still, she got offer only because they observed how she thought in solving the problem. What is her thought process? And she still wondering how she got the offer, not even solving completely.
Well, that's how crucial problem solving can be in your career.
Yes. She didn't know any programming language except some C, MATLAB, a little bit of Python, and little bit of Java. No way having any competing knowledge compared to CSE people, but she got the job in Amazon. That is the thing.
Yes, definitely. And everyone who are beginning their journey in computer science, please explore problem solving first before you go ahead and plan anything. And you need to be at a certain level before you plan other things. Say you need to be at if you could note down 1400 rating in lead code, 1200 in code forces, 1200 in ad coder, and 1000 in top coder.
What is the third one?
Ad coder.
ADD.
80.
80. Yeah. Okay. So there are 4 platforms.
Yes. I'll share those links in the group so you can explore.
Mm.
And they will also test you at your mathematical skills, because computer science, if you take off the blanket, it is essentially mathematics. And please try to solve as many problems as you can. If you need any discussions, or if you want to host a challenge, or if you want to get challenged, or if you want to compete against anyone within AI Hub, then we'll be providing resources, contests, and then platforms to help you get started. And you should be participating at even I think I forgot to say this. There are also hackathons that are organized at country level. You see how India and Pakistan compete for cricket. Similarly, there is an contest called ICPC, which stands for Intercollegiate Programming Contest, that allows a country to be represented in terms of raw coding and problem solving to compete against other nations.
So you will be representing the country.
Yes.
And to represent, to reach that level, they have to compete internal competitions within the country.
Yeah, there will be regional contests held every 6 months. and any team will consist of 4 members, and they have to register prior to ICPC 1 year prior to it. And if they qualify in the regionals, which will be held at the state level, they'll be qualified for the let's say pre-qualifiers for the ICPC, and they'll compete with the best teams in India, and the final team will reach ICPC. And that opportunity will only be present when you are pursuing undergraduate. If you passed out of undergraduate, then you can't do it. And me, I got to know about this at the end of 3rd year, so I didn't have time. But now you have 3 years to prepare, compete, and then participate in this. And just to excite you on how challenging that is, India has never even qualified for the pre-qualifiers. That is the sort of competency we are looking at. And China has produced the most amount of teams that have successfully solved most amount of problems. So yes, there is a long journey ahead, lot of new things to learn, lot of ways to improve your thinking process, lot of hurdles to face through, lot of breakpoints you are going to get, and if you push through breaking,
Breakdowns also.
yep, even breakdowns, and if you push through and focus and challenge yourself and push to the limits, you will have definitely will have exciting opportunities. And if anyone is interested, seriously interested in competitive programming, leaving everything else aside, and I want to spend more than 10 hours a day in competitive programming, which I used to do, then you are welcome to contact me. I'll share you all the resources and all the help you need to get started, and we can also challenge each other and improve, and then compete in other hackathons such as TCS Code Vita and other internal hackathons that companies host for competitive programming. And by contest, I don't mean specifically this is just for job or problem solving. Even for universities abroad or pursuing your master's or PhD or MBA, there are universities that host these challenges, specifically coding challenges, and if you shoot to the top of the leaderboard, they'll offer you a free scholarship.
Yeah, I hope they got the point.
So please, if anyone is interested, then please contact me.
Okay, Bhargav, let us conclude this meeting right then. So the immediate next step is today itself, you are helping them to set up the server, deploying the code of AIHUB website
Mm-hmm.
into your machine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
for that, I will allocate 4 students.
Mm-hmm.
Within 1 hour, I will intimate you the whole
Okay,
thing. Okay,
got it.
and you plan accordingly.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, Bhargav, then.
Yeah. All right,
Thank
done,
you.
everyone. I hope you learned something, and wish you a good luck on your journey. And thank you for patiently listening through everything. Bye.
They are actually waiting for people like you. Anyway, thanks, Bhargav.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.